way that she played to win, directed traffic, hit every ball, just so impressive.
And saying something in frustration, which one fan through lip reading interpreted as once a year, even a stick shoots. So this apparently is a Russian idiom, which essentially means the same thing as even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. Sabalenka was frustrated talking about now this incident with Rybakina. I think Aryna was frustrated that Elena struggled with winning a big title for over 2.5.
There was more than simply a trophy exchange at the conclusion of the WTA Finals. Following Elena Rybakina's straight-set victory over Aryna Sabalenka, an unexpected development occurred. Sabalenka made a remark about her opponent that caused a stir right away, and the WTA intervened, according to several tennis sources. However, this is what makes the tale intriguing. The majority of English speakers were unfamiliar with the Russian idiom used in the comment. What did she say, and why was there such a commotion? Let's examine what actually transpired in Riyadh.
Yeah, I guess I'm getting old. I'm getting really sensitive.
Rybakina's performance during the contest was a statement. She took control right away, winning in straight sets and clearly shaking Sabalenka. For those who recall the great tennis rivalries of the past, this was more than just a single game. Prior to entering, Sabalenka had been the favorite. Many anticipated that she would easily win the championship because she had been playing with confidence the entire tournament. However, Rybakina had different ideas. Everything that came next was put in motion by the first set. Rybakina developed a well-defined plan. When serving, take advantage of her height advantage. During the rallies, be patient and hit deep to Sabalenka's backhand. It was a great success. Sabalenka made an early effort to gain control before making her large ground strokes. However, Rybakina would not be scared. She won points and won the opening set decisively while maintaining her composure. You could feel Sabalenka's mental strain increasing by the second set. Her body language shifted. She was clearly frustrated as she talked to herself and fidgeted between points. Rybakina, on the other hand, appeared to be in total charge. She wasn't merely hitting winners. By varying her tempo, moving Sabalenka over the court, and making her struggle for every point, she was playing smart tennis. There was a tiebreaker in the second set. And that's where Sabalenka truly broke down. She made 2 mistakes. She failed to make her usual forehands while she slept. She had obviously already lost the contest mentally. Sabalenka appeared utterly devastated when Rybakina scored the last goal. Sabalenka was captured on camera muttering something after the defeat. According to reports, one fan who was adept at lip reading picked up what seemed to be a Russian sentence. This was the translation that went viral online. Even a stick shoots once a year. This basically translates to the English phrase, even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while, for those who are not familiar with Russian idioms. To put it another way, Sabalenka seemed to be implying that Rybakina's triumph was the result of pure luck, an anomaly, or one exceptional day during an otherwise uneventful period.
But yeah, I went a bit too much. I was so frustrated inside of me, and I was just like trying to let it go. Probably I went too far. Not probably I went too far.
You must now understand the context in order to comprehend why this remark hurt so much. Rybakina had been having trouble becoming consistent. She had established herself as a legitimate Grand Slam champion in 2022 by winning Wimbledon. However, she had experienced a difficult time. People questioned whether her Wimbledon win was her pinnacle due to injuries, coaching changes, and inconsistent performance. It had been more than 2.5 years since she had won a significant title. Therefore, Sabalenka essentially disregarded everything Rybakina had to overcome to return to this level by calling this victory a fluke. The tennis community responded right away. Criticism erupted on social media. ESPN and Tennis Channel commentators offered their opinions. Disappointment was voiced by former players. Not only was Sabalenka's statement problematic, but it also suggested that she respected a rival who had just outplayed her. It was discussed on ESPN's post-match coverage by one of the all-time greats, Chris Evert, who is now a recognized pundit. She discussed the value of grace in losing and how the greatest champions always give credit to their opponents, even if she didn't specifically mention Sabalenka. It was obvious what was implied. Rybakina's reaction to the dispute was illuminating.
Mostly about the technique and how to get maximum. Since I'm also tall, I have enough kills to push. So yeah, it's just all about the right momentum and using the whole body.
Although she didn't explicitly respond to the remark in her post-match interview, she was very clear about her stance. She talked about her serve and explained that it's largely about technique and how to obtain maximum force. I have sufficient strength to persevere because I am also tall. It all comes down to using your entire body and the proper momentum. Rybakina was making a straightforward point without specifically criticizing Sabalenka. This wasn't a coincidence. This involved expertise, execution, and preparation. She had researched her rival. She had created a strategy and executed it flawlessly. She was supported by the match statistics. 83% of Rybakina's first serve points were won. She made 17 aces. Out of 7 breakpoint opportunities, she converted 4 of them. With only 14 unforced errors, she had 32 victories. These are hardly the numbers of a fortunate person. These are the numbers of a person who just performed better that day. However, the plot takes an intriguing turn at this point. Sabalenka started crying during the award ceremony. Using the microphone, she attempted to clarify her response. She sobbed and remarked, "I guess I'm getting old. I'm becoming quite sensitive." She made an effort to portray her emotional outburst as an indication of growing up and becoming more aware of her emotions. The issue was that her actions earlier in the competition gave a different impression. A few days prior, Sabalenka had competed against Coco Gauff. Reporters at the courtside claimed that Sabalenka had not been sensitive at all during the interaction. She had been combative, hostile, and employed what many called intimidation methods. She was yelling in between points, celebrating victories violently, and overall attempting to disrupt her game of golf. Her coach, Anton Dubrov, reportedly got so upset with her actions that he got up from his seat in the spectators in the middle of the game.
And then honestly, I think it was the right move from him to probably just let me be on my own. And I don't want to say the way I wanted to say, but he really upset me, and I was really really stressed and angry on him, and that really helped me to pull out such things.
While the game was still in progress, he left. That is not a common occurrence in professional tennis. Through good times and bad, coaches remain loyal to their players. Dubrov's exit in such manner implied that he was truly displeased with Sabalenka's behavior on the court. In an interview following that game versus Gauff, Sabalenka admitted her actions. She acknowledged that I went a little too far. I was trying to let go of my own frustration. I most likely went too far. I probably went too far. She went on to say that she was inspired when Dubov left. He really irritated me, and I was quite tense and furious with him, which really helped me play such good tennis. Tennis fans were therefore wondering which Sabalenka is the real one, the sensitive player who sobs at the podium or the ferocious competitor who acknowledges using confrontation and rage as motivation. Given that you were so combative a few days prior that your own coach quit on you, can you honestly say that you are growing more sensitive? Let's talk about that fine. The WTA examined the video and Sabalenka's remarks, according to reports from tennis journalists monitoring the event. Although the WTA hasn't formally acknowledged the precise sum, those with knowledge of the matter believe the sanction was around $25,000. Making derogatory comments about a fellow player and acting in an unsportsmanlike manner are the charges. In the past, the WTA has taken a firm stand on player behavior. Fines have been imposed for remarks that compromise the integrity of the sport, verbal outbursts directed at authorities, and racket abuse. Do you recall Serena Williams' 2018 US Open tantrum and subsequent fine? Or when Nick Kyrgios was fined several times for his actions on the court? This is a good fit for that motif. The WTA's message appeared to be very obvious. You can be upset over a defeat, but you shouldn't openly minimize your opponent's accomplishment. For background, Sabalenka has previously encountered controversy. Throughout the tour, she has been recognized as an impassioned performer who displays her heart. She has benefited from that energy in numerous games. She has won 2 Australian Open championships thanks to it. Her rise to the top of the world rankings has been aided by it, but it has also resulted in instances like this one where her feelings have spilt over and negatively impacted her personality. This has a history that is worth looking into. Throughout her career, Sabalenka's emotional instability has been a plot point. She had trouble serving yips in the beginning and would frequently double falter due to her inability to control her nerves. She worked through that with technical coaches and sports psychologists. She seems to have managed her emotions. However, this WTA Finals episode raises the possibility that the fundamental problem still exists. She still finds it difficult to remain composed when things go wrong and she encounters hardship. The contrast with Rybakina's attitude is what makes this circumstance really remarkable. Rybakina maintained composure and concentration throughout the whole controversy. She refrained from retaliating on social media. In interviews, she refrained from making disparaging remarks. She just let her tennis play do the talking. And in doing so, even though she was 3 years younger than Sabalenka, she came across as the more experienced player. Longtime tennis aficionados will understand the lesson here. This pattern is not new to us. It was something that John McEnroe had to learn. Jimmy Connors had to become aware of it. Players like Nick Kyrgios have struggled with the same problem even more recently. Talent is insufficient on its own. Respect for the game and your opponents, emotional restraint, and mental toughness are all necessary for championships. Consider the legendary champions of the past. Steffi Graf, Chris Evert, and Martina Navratilova. They were all able to restrain their emotions. They may respect their opponent even if they lost a difficult game. They realized that tennis is more than just a single player or match. That's what sets the truly great players apart from the mediocre ones. Sabalenka was one of the favorites going into the WTA Finals. Earlier in the year, she had won the Australian Open. She had received the top spot in the world rankings. By most accounts, her season had been outstanding, but that didn't matter against Aryna. In the end, Rybakina's superior tennis performance is what matters. It has been fascinating to observe the fallout from this tragedy. Some of the tour's players have defended Sabalenka, claiming that we've all said things we regret and that emotions run high during intense competition. In an interview, Angeber, who is regarded as one of the most amiable players on tour, said that we had to show Sabalenka some mercy and recognize that defeat is painful, particularly in a major final. Others have shown less empathy, emphasizing the importance of professionalism and the fact that making allowances for inappropriate behavior sets a bad example for younger players rising through the ranks. Tracy Austin, a former player who is now a broadcaster, pointed out that displaying emotion is not the same as disrespecting your opponent. You don't have to minimize someone else's victory in order to be furious about losing. This triumph meant more to Rybakina than merely a title. She hadn't won a significant tournament in over 2.5 years. Her ability to compete at the top level had been questioned. Some pundits had written Serena off, claiming that her Wimbledon victory was an anomaly and that she couldn't maintain that caliber of play after catching lightning in a bottle that summer. These questions were clearly answered by this victory. It demonstrated that Rybakina should be included in discussions about the world's top players. It demonstrated her genuine talent and her ability to defeat anyone on tour when she is in good health and self-assurance. Additionally, the way she responded to the controversy afterwards showed a maturity that many think would help her in such situations in the future. The future of Sabalenka is called into question by this occurrence. There is no denying her brilliance. In women's tennis, she boasts one of the biggest serves. She can overpower opponents with her ground strokes. However, she won't be able to go as far if she can't learn to control her emotions and exhibit grace in loss. As you advance, the mental aspect of tennis becomes increasingly crucial. Everyone has talent at the highest level. Mental toughness and emotional maturity are frequently what set champions apart from near champions. What do you think about this issue, then? Do you believe that Sabalenka's remarks warranted the WTA's investigation? Or was it an exaggerated response to something spoken in the heat of the moment? And when comparing Rybakina's calm reaction to Sabalenka's dramatic outburst, which strategy do you believe benefits players more in the long run? I've been watching tennis for decades, so I'm interested to see how you would compare this type of debate to past tennis eras. Do we simply recall it that way, or were players more courteous back then? Please share your ideas in the comments section below. Additionally, if you liked this analysis of the actual events at the WTA Finals, please click the subscribe button to ensure that you don't miss our upcoming video. We'll be reporting on all the big tennis news as they happen, including the forthcoming Australian Open and the potential outcomes of these two players' next court match.